said the N-word, and predominantly black neighborhood I did. Running for my life I am.
Yo, there's that little green nigga right there.
Shoot that nigga's ass!
No, no, spare me you must. Say it again, never I will.
Fuck no, baby!
Racism, controversy, people leaving. I want to go over everything that happened in Hard to Kill and increasing controversy with the new Impact Wrestling World Champion Tessa Blanchard. And I want to say this, right, this maybe, I don't know, because I'm lazy on background checks and I should know if I reviewed something from a different promotion. Because currently I only have 2 reviews for NWA Power on my channel. I have at least 3 reviews of AEW Dynamite on, and at least 2 reviews of pay-per-views on from AEW on my channel. I at least know that. I have no history of Impact Wrestling in my channel. And I'm being honest, this is not me in denial. I think I really have no history with this. So this is new for me. This is going to be new for you. And this is going to be, I don't care. So let's go over this show. So this is like vague because I've watched like a few episodes of Impact. So let's go over what happened. We were in the bomb factory in Dallas, Texas, for Hard to Kill, the pay-per-view in, I think, Saturday or something. The pay-per-view was on last Saturday. It opened up with Madman Fulton facing off against Ken Shamrock one-on-one to kick off the show. And it came off with Jake and Dave Christ hyping up Jake Fulton and intervening in a bit of the match before Ken Shamrock, with his old wrinkly ass, somehow built great for his age, even though he should be like 50, late in his late 50s, I think. And he comes around doing roundhouse kicks. There was a cross arm breaker off the ropes by Madman Fulton, even though he's double his size. Why is he doing submission holds? Trying to equal out while, like, in some kind of abdominal stretch over to the shoulder socket, popped it open, and Madman Fulton, for like some portion of the match, had to make a makeshift arm in a sling using his own ripped up part of a t-shirt, and still wrestled. It ended up with Ken Shamrock being like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna still try to break his arm." He did, and he came off walking away scot-free with OVE and not even chasing him around, because Jesus Christ, it's Ken Shamrock. He can literally kill somebody and beat the ever-living death. Oh, God, again. Oh, the habits still die hard. And the match was okay. Didn't find much except the submission holds and Fulton trying to find some ways to feel like this is David and Goliath, even though Ken Shamrock has years of experience in mixed martial arts, and it never depends on the size of the sizes in a fight. And it's supposed to make him this unbreakable monster, but it made him feel like he had something to prove after like having an arm in a sling. Deadass, his arm is broken, and he comes off like, I think he lost to Tessa Blanchard before to getting tapped out by an old ass man. So Impact is trying to do a lot of stuff different that I hate. The match was okay though. Next up, Ace Austin versus Trey Miguel for the X Division Championship. And I thought the new now the belts had this design for at least 3 years now. So all they did, because they moved up to Access TV and their theme of Impact now looks red, they just painted, they like paint sprayed their belts red. So yeah, if you're a longtime Impact or TNA fan and you like the new designs of the belts, sadly they're red now. Nothing you can do about it. Trey, this is a story. This is a feud going on over Ace Austin hitting on the number 1 contender, Trey Miguel of the Rascals. It's Zach Wentz, and Desmond Xavier of the Rascals, and hitting on his mom just so he can play mind games with Trey, the number one contender that won in some multi-man challenge back a couple weeks on Impact, so we can get in the mind of Trey. I thought it was a basic story, decent selling off Trey. It actually felt like it was suffocating in certain areas, coming down off drop kicks. It was super fast paced, even though it felt like it was selling. But it's the X division. It's not supposed to be like heavyweight. It's supposed to be like cruiserweights or weirdos or hardcore losers holding on to that belt. So it's supposed to be guys that are not supposed to be main eventers. Yet they do become main eventers because you can cash in the belt anytime they want. So yeah, the option C thing. I told you I watched Impact years ago, so I know a bit. It was a decent match. Ended with Ace Austin taking off the big W, folding him up for the victory, scoring his own finisher. Decent 2 counts, even the Canadian Destroyer off the top. Big superplex. I think it was a Falcon Arrow from the top as well. Big chanting, and it came up to a fight because Ace Austin was taunting to his mom. So, yeah. Big fight afterwards, a decent match. I'll give it my sign of approval. It was a good match. Good match. Decent story, so I think this is ongoing, and I think they might let a future title defense happen on Impact. I felt like, at times, like the commentators, that I think it's Josh Matthews and another dude, came off feeling like they're trying to like coexist as like guys that agree with their own opinion. Because I remember Mike Tenay was with Josh Matthews, and they were going over a feud who was a better commentator was, and they were talking a lot of smack to each other. Then I hear him with him, and it just feels so robotic. It feels like they have no chemistry, nothing to talk over or talk against. It felt like none of these guys. They're just basically play by play, and the guy looks like a Turkish porn star director. And a pedophile, while Josh Matthews still looks like he's 24, even though he must be like 32 by now. So, I hate the commentary, even though they do get some moves right. They don't seem that annoying, but they just feel so plastic. They don't seem to have it as the old like NWA, TNA commentators had, or like back then when Taz was there. And even though he was annoying sometimes, he brought his 2 cents, and he wasn't like the Taz with Michael Cole and him on SmackDown, but he at least had the job done sometimes with Mike Tenay. He was okay. So next up was of course the triple threat match against ODB, Taya Valkyrie, and Jordan Grace for the Knockouts Women's Championship. I don't know why that was super redundant because their women's division is literally called Knockouts 2020. Old habits die hard. Okay, this match was okay. It ended with Taya picking up a victory over interference off Johnny Bravo with Jordan Grace coming close to try to break up the pinfall, but Johnny Bravo came holding up to the foot of when Jordan Grace had a finisher on ODB. ODB came around just saying, I think this is just a feud going on because there's barely any women in the Knockouts division, even though there was Tessa Blanchard, but now she's so big that Impact is trying to push her that now she's wrestling men. Even though they're trying to push Rich Swann as well. But either way, it ends up with Jordan Gray with Taya Valkyrie retaining the Knockouts title in an okay match. There was some decent headlocks around. ODB had some decent offense, but her tits just kept popping more than her moves. And Jordan Grace had some great powerlifting moves in there, but it just felt so weird because I just felt like she was just wearing Michael Logan's old gear. Even though Michael Logan doesn't even wear a singlet anymore. Yeah, Taya Valkyrie won. This match really didn't entice me. As well as that Rosemary feud I heard with Taya Valkyrie a few times whenever I bring up Taya Valkyrie. Next up was Brian Cage against Rob Van Dam. The assumed dream match, so a match that's supposed to steal the show with the former Impact Wrestling World Champion facing off against Rob Van Dam. But it's kind of controversial off his return off Impact because he's in a somewhat polygamous relationship, but not. Katie Forbes and her girlfriend are with Rob Van Dam, and they continue to make out. And for most of the time, all I know is one time I saw her on Impact for her entrance and kept replaying the entrance because it's just her twerking with money all around. So I was like, oh my god, Impact is making mixtape videos or World Star and shit. And it was like, oh my god, what the fuck is going on? And she looks so plastic, weird, coming around acting like some ratchet bitch with her boyfriend that knows kung fu, kicking the shit out of him. It's like Rob Van Dam has this basic thing that he had back on like ECW, commentator bringing up ECW. It's like it's not his first time going cocky and saying that his skills could take him over the top. And now everybody's whipping off his moves. It's like a basic heel turn like that. There's no need for somebody like Katie Forbes coming around shaking her ass and twerking around his entrance majority of times over the show and playing a factor of trying to like steal pinfalls. Brian Cage was selling an injury, comes around barely wearing his gear, and then he ends off of Van Terminator from just call it coast to coast if you want to, if you watch WWE. With a steel chair, getting his nose bloodied, and he left the ring until Dogger came. That was a backstage segment as well, but no one really cares because it's Dogger. And then with them having a match with Rob Van Dam picking up the victory as well with the 5-star frog splash, he keeps hitting around off the bottom, and then a low blow from Katie Forbes. Then Katie Forbes' girlfriend came after the win with Rob Van Dam winning. So I just don't care. All I know now, Rob Van Dam has at least made an impact. No pun intended. Got Impact Wrestling banned from Twitch because of his dumbass. I'm joking. Oh my god, I can't blame him entirely. He's just there for the role. It's not his choice that he has two big-butted women that are barely clothed coming around touching each other live on Twitch, even though they allow female streamers to do it. So the hypocrisy is in the air, but I understand why Twitch wants to do it. This isn't porn with a 40-year-old man coming around touching women. Okay, I'm not gonna go. I'm just gonna cut off, awkwardly transition out of this because I don't know why in the hell that's the most Impact is used to controversy and being an idiot and losing over deals. Next up was Eddie Edwards against Michael Elgin for a call your shot trophy on the line. So I think it was like a tournament for like call your shot trophy or like a pseudo like championship opportunity thing. They used to have what happened to the Feast or Fire briefcase? That was like a rip off Money in the Bank. What happened to that? And it ended up in a pretty decent match. It was my favorite part was when it was trying to go blow to blow, but the basic forearm to forearm because they don't do punches like that anymore because it looked too fake. Now they start doing forearms. Now it looks a bit legit, but it looks corny as well because no one sells it. Elgin like brushes off Eddie Edwards' fucking forearm and he gives him a stiff one, and he fell to the floor so damn hard it was hilarious. Missile drop kick, super kick. Eddie Edwards came around doing a tope suicida. He still comes around with with the kendo stick. I only know a bit of Eddie Edwards, a bit transitioned from world champion into now he's a Psycho of a Kane, and he looks built as Tommy Dreamer from a decade ago. So, Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. You just remember him from the American Wolves if you want to feel better, and he looks fitter back then. Now he comes around just wearing jeans, sneakers, and a cap to a fight, singing around to his own song like a freaking psycho. Even though they did storylines with him nearly killing somebody and getting in a tough marriage spot on some of the Impact shows that I found it pretty unique. But it just feels like this guy is fucking crazy, and now he's a babyface facing off against a guy that got screwed back at Slammiversary for the world title. It ended up with Eddie Edwards coming out a roll-up pinfall, even though Michael Elgin was kind of beating the crap out of him. Hit several power bombs, super kicks, beating the crap out of him, reversing a tope. Felt like everything was going Elgin's way until yet again, roll up, 1, 2, 3, couldn't get the win while it mattered, even though he beat him twice on Impact. So that made no sense. So the Call Your Shot trophy still stays with Eddie Edwards, and he put a little smiley face trying to make that look like a Wilson. The match was okay though. Didn't mind it. Next up, we had Moose versus Rhino. What's better, the gore or the spear? And they went over one of Moose that pinned Rob Van Dam, I think, back at Bound for Glory in on Impact. I think over 2 weeks before the pay-per-view, he had a match with Rob Van Dam, with him winning with Tommy Dreamer as the special guest ref, and it ended with Rhino losing via ref bump. And it was decent. Moose dressed like Macho Man Randy Savage, keeping the headband on with his bald milk dud head ass, looking like a moose nose in the head, coming around like selling this slow, awkward match with like Rhino still being like pushing 50, and this dude's still trying to wrestle hardcore matches like spears through tables and crap with the same basic spear through the corners with a table. It is so damn boring. It ended with Moose picking up the victory, but it just went so like slow and boring. Unless they had more people, this match could have been more entertaining. They had more people to work around, but thanks this match only had two of them, and it was so slow and kept with the near falls. This match should end as quick as possible because I really didn't want to see this. The match was so boring. Next up, semi-main event. It was, the Mac versus the North because during some special on Impact from Bash of the Brewery, ankle injury was by Rich Swann, and now he's out for the tag team match. So it was a pseudo handicap match. So Willie Mack faced off against the North, that have been tag team champions since beating LAX in their final match on Impact before they went off to AEW. So, yeah. I don't even know what they call the tag team because they still wrestle as a tag team. I don't know if they call themselves LAX anymore, if the right circle on Impact, or because they're part of the inner circle. I don't know what the hell they call themselves. And it ends up in a match. I felt like it was almost going to Willie Mack sometimes, like going over Super Kick Stunner. Ethan Page felt like such a weird jobber, but transitioning over Josh Alexander. Willie Mack was just doing what Rich Swann was doing for the past 3 weeks, like playing like just a one-man army and almost having the win. Willie Mack was so passive and chill. Was like, look, bro, you got a lot going for yourself. You got a future in your hands, and I gotta carry the load now. He felt like such a depressed piece of shit. I don't know how in the hell these guys became a tag team. But brothers must be brothers, and it ends up with the Mac losing, thanks to like their finishing move that I will not repeat because I don't know it. So the North pick up the victory. That is 3 titles retainments other than the main event. That was Sami Callihan versus Tessa Blanchard for the she said the N-word and spit on a black woman. Controversy after she won the title. It just goes nowhere. Even in our Booker T's, I was about to call him truth. I mean, I should kill myself immediately after she won I was about to say women's. You see how weird it is? She won the world title. Booker T went off to his podcast and talked about how he thought it was like unrealistic. It made no sense. It's a terrible business decision. And for me, he's right about that. I feel like it's a terrible business decision. It makes sure some of the top guys feel a bit devalued, and it kind of lowers their stock of them being premier main eventers. So I can understand what Booker T is. You see how fucking weird it is. What Booker T is saying. And it comes up with Sami Callihan beating the ever-living crap piss out of Tessa Blanchard, saying, fuck you too, bitch. Tessa Blanchard trying to ask Sami Callihan to hit harder. Hurricane Rana. It just felt like it was just, she's gonna take a few stiff shots, feel like a sympathizer in the match. And it's been like that for the past couple shows. Like, even, like, their first match was Slammiversary. They said they had the match where you're supposed to sympathize with Tessa. Like, she's not going to take the strikes. She's going to tap out. And she gave it a close one against Sami Callihan. Now here he is again. And he loses in his first title defense after beating Brian Cage in a rematch from a steel cage match on Impact after Bound for Glory. Like, this makes no sense. Who you want to be the top guy? Tessa Blanchard? A generic second generational superstar? Next generational superstar gimmick? Character? Yeah, I get it. She can wrestle. Her way with heavyweights, that's just her just trying to do Hurricane Rana's, a few stiff arms and try to sell as much punishment as possible, or the John Cena treatment, because it's basic. The match was basic. What heel work? We didn't even develop much of a title. This is like a title design, and it just immediately changed. What the hell was Sami Callihan gonna do? First title defense and loses it to a woman. I'm not feeling like a sexist here. I'm not. I'm not doing that today. I'm not trying to get into that controversy because understand what I'm saying. It's a business. This ain't a TV show. Even in TV shows, they're gonna do logic over anything else. There is no legit main eventer on Impact Wrestling. What grounds have they already broken? Because you gave a world title to a woman that gets carried by other male wrestlers. And then the controversy slipping out of this immediately after she gets in the main event plan is freaking put her under the bus with with saying the N word, and then going over the goal of like overselling the fact that intergender wrestling is going to be the new norm. If that is, I'm not going to be a wrestling fan for so long. It devalues some of the superstars. It's unrealistic. If I see Raiho versus goddamn Kenny Omega, it's gonna feel. I'm gonna feel more invested in Kenny Omega facing the blow up doll from years ago than Raiho versus Kenny Omega, because Raiho looks like my little cousin. She does not look like a person that you think is a David and Goliath mismatch. Just like it was for Sami Callihan versus Tessa Blanchard. It didn't feel anything like that. And like for most of the guys like Killer Cross, Eddie Edwards, Michael Hogan, Brian Cage, Sami Callihan, it's not gonna feel that realistic. And she doesn't build up that much of a characterization other than she's the daughter of Tully freaking Blanchard, like the black sheep of the Four Horsemen that barely anybody's gonna remember, other than like hardcore wrestling fans or guys that watch it from back then. Unless you know Ric Flair or an Anderson, no one gives a crap. I'm sorry. No one. I respect the hell out of Tully. And for Tessa, she's a tremendous wrestler. I'm not going to devalue this, but this doesn't do nothing to evolve your product. And already you guys are suffering backlash from this and losing a good service like Twitch. How? The match just felt like carried out like completely scripted. None of it felt like it was supposed to tell much of a story other than show that Tessa Blanchard was as tough as Sami Callihan. That was just doing stuff like that, like pressing snot into her face, disrespecting the fans, talking shit. Sometimes the OVE was trying to intervene in the matchup and try to feel like the world was against Tessa Blanchard. So now she's not. I was about to say Knockouts champion. You see how weird it is now? Now she's holding the world title, and I don't know what they're gonna do about it next week on Impact. So I don't give a damn. I'm maybe gonna watch a bit of Impact and see how it is, and then you'll see my view on it on an earlier notice before the weekend. So, I give the show a 5 out of 10. I didn't mind Card to Kill. I felt like it was a forgettable pay-per-view. The main event at least screams to something because it was a surprise moment. The first woman to ever hold the world a major championship. So I guess that's an accomplishment and it's a big milestone. It's something out of the norm, but something like Impact that's like struggling to build a process up that they haven't had in years. Just Oh my god. Oh god. It's nothing much to write home about. If you like some of the action, if you like the main event that I think some people did, if you liked what they're trying to build up to, watch Hard to Kill. I'm just here to give you my opinion. The decision for if you want to watch or not is up to you. Thank you for watching. This is DST Show, and I hope you like my Hard to Kill review.